So this video is about how we can introduce coordinate system in a Stemland style, which means looking at the things that we've already done with children. So one thing we have done with them is usually integers, and integers we have done in two ways. So when we introduced integers, we use tokens and we use the number line. And I would go back and just do that. So you just have the number line and you have your zeros and the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and -1, -2. So we have the possibility of moving horizontally along the x-axis. So that's the first thing I would remind them of. It's a number line. And then you connect to Scratch, of course. So next thing is Scratch. So in Scratch you had a sprite, and the sprite is sitting here, and you wanted the sprite to move from this location to another location. And so the new rule that you are putting, right, new additional rule that you are putting is that you have to go horizontal before you go, and you have to go vertical. So once the sprite is there, then we know it's a two-dimensional axis, and you have both the x-axis, which we did now, and you have the y-axis, in which you have the same 0, and then you have 1 positive going up, and you have -1 going down. And one thing we can do is we can use a different color to represent x and y, so it avoids confusion. You can't really tell these two colors apart, so let's use two different colors, and let's say the x is in blue, both positive and negative. Right now I'm not using a different color for negative. The assumption is you've already worked with children on integers, so they are familiar with it. And then let's say we use a brown. So in order to get to this point, let's say it's something like 4,4. You have to go horizontal 4 and then you have to go vertical 4. So the rule is that you have to go horizontal before you go vertical, so that we don't get confused whether we were going horizontal or vertical. And a point like this is represented with the x value first and the y value second. So I'm going to represent the point with 4,4, 4 representing, okay, if you like, you can even start with blue and end with brown, why not? That it represents the x change first and y change second, and here it doesn't matter because both of them are the same. But if you take a different point, let's say here, then I went x the same, but I went y only 2. So going like this, whenever I have a point, I first go across the horizontal axis, which I called x, and then I go the vertical axis, which is y. In your we have many Scratch programs that children themselves have created for this, which we can use, and you can even use the arrow keys, right? To represent that this represents the y-axis and this represents the x-axis, and they can of course make their own game in order to get familiar with the basic coordinate system, connecting with things they have done with the number line and with Scratch.